one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And he closed the Bible up and said, I told you. And I said, what? Even then, I recognized that if that's the best that a ufologist has about UFOs in the Bible, we're walking on thin, thin ice. So I ask, what exactly did Ezekiel see? All right, look at the verses 15, 16, 17, and 18. I want you to note that Ezekiel saw wheels that were like beryl, B-E-R-Y-L. A beryl is a gemstone. It's typically a blue or a bluish green or a blue-green or a greenish color. So this is different from the burnished brass that we saw. It's different from the amber that we saw. This one's a different color. It's the color of a beryl, blue, blue-green gemstone. Ezekiel describes it as a wheel in the middle of a wheel. I think that phrase, all by itself, sets imaginations on fire. If you can imagine a wheel in the middle of a wheel in the middle of a wheel, and you can imagine the top view looking kind of like an egg that you've broke open into your fry pan. You look down on top of that egg, you see that yellow yolk, and it's kind of sticking up a little bit, and all around it you have that flat white outer part of the egg, and if you let it fry just to get it solid a little bit, you slide a spatula up underneath it, you lift it up, and you get the base with the bubble. You know, it kind of looks a little bit like what some people describe as UFOs looking. A saucer with kind of a bulb in the middle, a wheel in the middle of a wheel, all right? That could accurately describe that phrase, wheel in a wheel, but can I throw a better idea out to you? Based on what else that we see in this picture, do you know what a gyroscope is? Gyroscope is circles inside of circles, and it allows, a true gyroscope allows 3 ways of movement without any movement. You get to move all kinds of, if you can imagine a circle this way and a circle this way, kind of a 4-pronged, instead of a 6-pronged gyroscope, a 4-pronged gyroscope, one wheel like this and then one wheel in the wheel like this, that also accurately describes what Ezekiel saw, and that matches how the cherubim are seen to be moving. Remember, the cherubims don't move like this. The cherubims move like this and like this. If those wheels inside of those wheels are like a star-shaped, that's going to allow lateral and forward-backwards movement. Did you see that they went upon their 4 sides, just like the cherubim only went 4 ways? Did you notice that these wheels did not turn? All right, we have the word wheel, and I checked, I wonder if that's some kind of a fancy Hebrew word that means circle or something, and I checked, and nope, it means wheel, like what you'd have attached to your axle. Now to me, all right, when my car's tires are not moving, my car's not going anywhere. All right, now I could lock up my brakes. If I was going 60 or 70 miles per hour, I could lock up my brakes and all 4 of my tires might stop moving, and temporarily the car might continue to move, but it won't move far. But these wheels are not moving, but the wheels are not rotating, but this thing is moving. Did you catch this? Not only are there wheels, but there are rings. That word ring means top, or the rim, or the arch. So it's like on the outside edge of these wheels, all around them. They are full of eyes. All right, eyes typically denote seeing, knowledge. And then did you notice that these things are so high that they're scary? Anybody here afraid of heights? Oh, in downtown Detroit, there's a great big building called the Renaissance Center. And when I was in high school, it it was mostly filled with offices for the General Motors. It was also later called the General Motors building, but I don't know, the tallest building in the city of Detroit, and on the outside of this building is a glass elevator. One day our school took a field trip to the Renaissance Center in downtown Detroit, and for $1.50 you could buy a ticket to ride the glass elevator. The glass elevator on the outside of the Renaissance Center was it 70, 80 stories up, right there by the Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River. All right, I was scared of heights, but I was dumb enough I bought me a ticket. Let me tell you something. If you're afraid of heights, you do not want to ride a glass elevator somewhere going like that. It'll just put one of those into you. I ain't gonna ride it like this. Pay my $1.50 to ride it like that. The wheel here was so high. What verse is that? Verse 20, where is it? Verse 18? The rings were so high that they were dreadful. So this thing is tall, it's high, it's way up in the air. Next week we're going to see that it's not just tall, it's up in the air. But you got the idea. It's making Ezekiel go, whoa, man, am I glad I'm up there on top of that thing. Now, this is a good place to pause. Ezekiel is just about to start putting all these events and these visions together. Right now what we have is 3 different components of Ezekiel's visions. If we just were to look at verses 15 to 18, could those wheels inside the wheels be flying saucers? Yes. There is nothing to contradict that they could be flying saucers. But can I suggest to you tonight, can I politely put this out in front of you, that you kind of have to read that into the text to come away with that conclusion. Because there's nothing in the text to suggest to us that they're alien spacecraft. Rather, what we find is that they are connected to the cherubim, and the cherubim are not Martian aliens. They're angelic creatures of God being directed by the Holy Spirit of God. We've seen a storm from the north. We've seen cherubims and wheels, and they're all connected both literally and figuratively. Next week, we'll see the culmination of this strange vision. But for tonight, let me give you a warning about the Bible. We love sound bites. You know what a sound bite is? The right side and the left side of the news, they all use sound bites. Here's how this works. Video camera and a reporter will tape 6 hours. Today, Amy Coney Barrett was in front of the Senate committee for 6 or 8 hours answering questions. All right. Tonight and tomorrow morning in the newscasts, you'll see 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-second clips of video from today's hearings. That's a sound bite. All right. Our news would like for you to think that they can boil the whole thing down to a couple of 5-second sound bites and that you will accurately and completely understand all that's happened today. Let me tell you, that's not possible. Not possible to condense 8 hours of hearings into a 5-second sound bite. Yesterday I was listening to Dave Ramsey and Anthony O'Neill on one of the radio shows I like to listen to, and Anthony O'Neill they were congratulating him because he had just been put into a 5-page magazine spread from a magazine called Success Magazine. And they were talking about this spread, and Dave Ramsey congratulated him, and Anthony said, I'd really like to thank Success Magazine because they accurately handled my interview, and in this 5-page spread, that was all accurate. And Ramsey was quick to speak up and said, that's a good thing because I have sat through interviews and read my interviews that I gave in newspapers and thought those people weren't even in the same room with me. They so badly mangled what I said that it doesn't even sound like me. He wondered if they'd even been in the same room. We must be careful that we don't do that to the scriptures. Now look, we all have our favorite verses of the Bible. We all have precious, precious promises of the Bible. But let me give you a little bit of a pastoral warning. If you don't understand that favorite verse inside of its paragraph and chapter, you might not understand your favorite verse of the Bible. Can I give you an example of that? When I was in high school, there was a piece of jewelry that was popular. It was a necklace. It was in two pieces, and it's based on a verse in Genesis that says, God be with you when we're apart from one another. Something, I don't remember the exact, but God protect you while we are apart from one another. And it was kind of a, you wear this half and I'll wear this half and we'll kind of be matched, and we'll always think of one another. But really it was between Laban and Jacob, and Laban sent it to Jacob because he didn't trust Jacob as far as he could throw him. And really that verse says, you better watch out, because if we ever get back together, some of this is coming. And so that piece of jewelry got that verse absolutely backwards. We have to be careful that we don't interpret our Bible with soundbite theology. We have to understand the Bible in the context in which it's written. And just like I hope that you have seen that the wheels inside the wheels are probably not flying saucers. But some people grab it and say, well, it must be, because look, we know that they exist and here they are in the Bible. I hope that you recognize that when you look at things in context, you see things that maybe you should be seeing rather than seeing things that you imagine are there. We have to be careful that we interpret the Bible with what it says and not with what we want or hope that it says. Now, next week, we come to the conclusion of this 3-point mini-series of oxen and lions and eagles, oh my, and we will see just exactly what the whirlwind and the